We seriously need to talk about Season 16 Apex, because this is looking like to be one of the best seasons ever. And I'm talking legend changes, meta changes, new weapon, new game modes, map changes. The list goes on. It's insane how much of stuff is coming to Season 16. And in this video, we're going to talk about it all. So sit back, relax, let's get into it. But first, I want to give a huge shout out to Respawn and EA for sponsoring this video and giving me the opportunity to play test Season 16 and capture all this footage early. Let's get right into it. Let's start off by talking about one of the most requested things finally coming to Apex, Team Deathmatch. Team Deathmatch will be arriving to Apex in Season 16, but that's not the end of it. In Season 16, we'll also be getting a permanent new playlist called Mixtape, which will have a rotating list of fan favorite LTMs like Control, Gun Game, and of course, TDM will be included in this playlist. But let's get back to Team Deathmatch. TDM will have loadouts similar to Control. However, there will be two sets of loadouts, one for each round. Yes, you heard that right, just like you and your significant other on a Friday night, there will be rounds. First team to win 2 rounds of first to 30 kills wins the entire match. TDM will also be 6v6, but unfortunately you cannot queue into a game with more than 3 players. At launch, we'll have access to 3 maps for TDM, which will be the OG and for some reason fan favorite Skulltown. I don't really like Skulltown. Party Crasher and Habitat 4 from Arenas will also be our maps for Team Deathmatch. Oh yeah, speaking of Arenas, that shit is getting thrown into the sun. I mean, is being sunsetted. And let me tell you, I have no problem with that because Arenas easily sunset 10 years off my life. Let's move on to something that actually provides a little dopamine, which is legend changes. Now, I'm not kidding when I say that Season 16 is going to be a big one. I don't think we've ever seen this many changes since a VTuber debuting for the 5th time this year alone. In Season 16, every class is getting reworked, so that effectively means every legend is getting some form of change. Let's start off with the Recon characters. Recon legends will no longer be able to scan survey beacons for information on the next ring circle, but instead will reveal the positions of enemy players to your local government. Which brings me to my next topic of a new class being introduced to Apex, the Controller class. Wait a second, am I playing the right game? Caustic, Watson, Rampart, and Catalyst have been placed under this classification for their abilities. Now here's the kicker. The Controller class will now have access to a new beacon called Ring Consoles that will reveal the next ring location. That's pretty crazy if you ask me. Next up, we have the reworked Assault class. This is essentially now the personally I wouldn't let that slide, but that's just me class. Legends who can open up with strong attacks and initiate a fight. In this class, we have Bangalore, Revenant, Fuse, Ash, and Maggie. The new Assault class will have access to new Assault supply bins that will appear in your games that will contain high-value weapon attachments. Assault Legends will also be able to carry an extra stack of ammo in their inventory, which will be super helpful in high-intensity moments like Ranked or in competitive Apex. Now you may have noticed that I left out other Assault Legends like Horizon, Valkyrie, Wraith. Well, that's because they've been placed in a new class being introduced called Skirmisher. With Wraith, Pathfinder, Mirage, Octane, Horizon, and Valkyrie under this class, they'll be blessed with a new passive ability called Care Package Insight. Just like the FBI agent watching you through your webcam right now, this will allow legends to peek into care packages dropped into games and see what the rarest item is in the care package. And you can see it from far away. It's pretty sick. And last but certainly not least, we have the new Support class, which will be occupied by our remaining legends, Gibraltar, Lifeline, Loba, and Newcastle. I saved this for last because this is also something everyone has been begging for, sort of. Not only will these legends have access to the extended supply bins that Lifeline has always had access to, but now they'll be able to craft teammates' banners even after they've expired, and that is awesome. This gives more reason for players to continue their game even if both their teammates die. Now I know what you're thinking, but Crusader, what about specific legend changes? Well, you need to prepare your butthole because these changes are wild. Our beloved Wraith and Pathfinder have received pretty cool buffs to their ultimate abilities, which essentially doubles their effective range. Pathfinder can deploy his zipline much farther now, and not only that, the speed in which legends travel across his zipline has been increased. Wraith can now travel much farther with her portal, and her movement speed increases the farther she travels. Repositioning with Wraith is going to be awesome now. And now for everyone's favorite space mom, Horizon. You probably all expect this to come, but her in-air accuracy when in her lift has been toned down, and you certainly won't be beaming people while rising anymore. However, to compensate for this, just like the time you saw that goth girl on TikTok, the speed in which you reach the peak of your lift has been increased. And now for this motherfucker, I am incredibly happy to share that Seer's passive has been nerfed. You can no longer slide and spam his heartbeat sensor to get free information on enemy positions. The passive now has a wind-up time, so it'll take a few seconds before it kicks in. But not only that, when Seer scans someone with his passive, the enemy is notified with an audio cue to let the player know that they are being tracked by Seer. Kind of like Wraith's passive, so yeah, no more free information for you scumbag Seer players out there. Then we have our other favorite scan legend, Bloodhound. This is kind of a weird one, but I feel it's necessary evil to step away from the scan meta. So Bloodhound can no longer get their tactical and ultimate timer refresh when they get kills in their ultimate, but what does happen now is that a white raven will spawn during the ultimate and start tracking the closest enemy legend. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not too sure how this one is gonna play out, and I'm not really sure how it works out because I didn't play too much Bloodhound in the playtest, but we'll just have to wait and see. I'm not too excited about this next one because I find this legend extra annoying, but Mirage is actually getting buffed again. When someone shoots Mirage's decoys, there's a pop-up on screen that pings the enemy's location. Yeah, that now tracks you for a few seconds, making it easier to find enemies who are bamboozled. Not only that, but his passive got buffed. When Mirage goes invisible to revive a teammate, they retain the invisibility for a few extra seconds after being revived. However, you'll not have access to your weapons during this period. If you do re-equip your weapons during the invisibility period, the invisibility will be cut short. For me personally, I think it's a good buff for all you Mirage gamers out there, but I know it'll certainly make him more annoying to fight. And that about wraps it up for legend changes. Let me know what you all think in the comments. But if you think we're done, then boy, add that to the list of wrong decisions you made in your life. We still gotta talk about the new weapon coming to Apex, the Nemesis. It's a 4-round burst energy assault rifle. Now listen, I don't have the best clips of me getting kills with it, but you have to believe me when I say this thing shreds. It has a feature where it ramps up its rate of fire the more you shoot it. This thing is a beast. It can equip pretty much the same attachments as an R301, barrel stabilizer, 3x, 4x, the works. I can see this gun becoming a lot of players' nightmares. Did I just make a pun there? I'm not sure. I could also talk about how assault rifles hipfire was nerfed, but I know a lot of you won't like to hear that, but it's true. The R301 also only does 13 damage per bullet now, but there's not much to talk about that in depth. The R301 was way too good at what it does, and it was like a foolproof weapon to choose, making the other weapons redundant. Assault rifles hipfire being nerfed will put them more in line of what they're meant for, and that's medium to long range. SMGs and shotguns should be the king of close range. Yeah, I know a lot of you are going to cry about your precious R301, but get over it. It was way too easy of a gun to use, and it was way too good at everything, literally. But let's close out this video by talking about the new firing range. There's a lot of new options and toggles we can mess with. For instance, we finally can enable infinite ammo, thank God. Next up is dummies. We can adjust the armor rarity they're wearing, and we can set them to stand stationary or strafe. We can even adjust their strafe speed. We also now have data at the top of our screen in the firing range that will show us how many shots were fired, damage done with those shots, headshots, kills, and accuracy. This will be helpful for those who want more insight on their weapon of choice or their accuracy. And that about wraps up everything coming to Season 16. What do you all think? From the sounds of all this, I think Season 16 is shaping up to be one of the best seasons ever. Like, I'm seriously excited to get my hands on all of this. Once again, super big shout out to EA and Respawn for giving me this opportunity to playtest and capture all this footage. Also want to give a huge shout out to my other VTuber friend, Dash, who helped me in the firing range to capture all this content. You're the best, buddy.
Fuck you, crew.
Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see y'all in the arena in Season 16.